Okay, people, so now it's, what is it? March 31st. People are wondering what's going on. And I'm wondering too, people. Like, this is the oddest thing. I'm doing, only because I bought 5 bags. And I don't want them to spoil. Right? I'm kind of worn out. You know? I was supposed to be typing right now. But I'm actually disinfecting my floor in between cleaning off counters, putting things away. Took a bunch of stuff. Took all that food. Took those chickpeas downstairs. Right? And that powder milk and whatnot. Have to take that down. So once you start moving things down, you want to start washing your floor, right? Get the good old bleach out, right? Like I said, when somebody dies, it's poof, they're gone, and nothing else moves. It all stays behind. All this shit stays behind.
Promulgating in Washington to determine how that is to be assimilated. But we know it's coming here.
All Ciera's rocks. I come across one of her rock containers on the porch when I was moving stuff down, and one day we'll go through all her rocks. She was always looking for gems, rocks that you could turn into gems, right? Because somebody that she met along the way, I guess they used to, you know, run them through the rock machines and then sell them, right? And that was, I think that's how that started, because she was always looking for something more special, and then she'd go take them to whoever. Oftentimes she'd just bring rocks to my house. Some rocks she brought knowing that would be nice in the yard, right? When I'm out in the yard working and I come across those rocks, I'll make sure I'll be reminding you that it was Ciera who brought those ones. Right? Towards the end, though, she just started getting ridiculous and started just bringing home fucking gravel. So I don't know. I don't know if she was rushing and thinking she could sort it out later and find that perfect rock, or if her brain was just going out the door. Right? And considering her living conditions and the shit that she's been through, right, it wouldn't be unreasonable for her to be the way she was. Right? Because it's a creation, and I'm not the one who created it, people. So anyway, somebody asked me if I heard anything. I haven't heard anything, people. Well, I googled special crime investigation. It doesn't really say much. You can't really, it doesn't explain what it does. Right? It just takes you to the Facebook of the Surrey RCMP, but it doesn't tell you exactly what type of crime that they investigate. You know, I mean, common sense tells you that if it was a simple OD, right, it would have been dealt with by now. So it's got to be more than just a simple ID. Somebody, well, actually, truth for reality, I'm not going to say somebody, I'm going to give the credit where the credit is due, but in the event of there's more than one body in that place, and I just don't know about it at this point. Truth for reality is thinking there might have been more than one dead body in that house, just with the number of vehicles in terms of those little white vans. And then, of course, we've got that phantom car that was bolting out of there like a bat out of hell. 10, 11 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever it was from the time we left inside and went outside. And it obviously bolted after those guys came and went in and out of the house. So it didn't bolt out of there with nothing, people. It had a body in it. Right? That's the part that fucks with my head. Why would they do that? There's no reason to rush a body out of there in such a hurry. Okay? It's a dead body. What are you trying to get out of it? The only reason you would rush it off someplace is because you want to take something out of it. It's common sense. You bring it down to the common denominator, right? And I think this being elusive and hush-hush and not being specific, because they're not being specific, and, you know, they're escalating it, right? A little more just when it comes time to fucking produce a result. They're just escalating it a little more. Oh, well, now it's special. Now it's special investigation. Like, first it was, yes, you can see her, wait for the coroner. Then the coroner comes, basically took her moment of opportunity like an Eleanor Gilding, right? With call security, get out, right? And then not even 11 minutes later, there goes the coroner's vehicle bolting the fuck out of the driveway as it, you know, came up from the back. And then, you know, halfway through that process, after that thing's gone, then the big cop's now saying, oh, it's more serious. It's, you know, we're calling in we need to investigate it more. We need to investigate it more. Okay, that was an excuse to what? Investigate for 3 hours? When I come back an hour and a half later, they're fucking gone. Everybody's gone, lights out, everything. Well, that doesn't make no sense. They weren't investigating anything more. They got what they wanted and they left. They all wanted to go home and have fucking dinner, people. Their shift was coming an end. Right? It's the point that they rushed the body out in that phantom car. Because if they wouldn't have, they would have followed through on what they said they were going to do. And none of them have... The only phone call I got was to talk about who Ciera was. That's it. He wouldn't answer me what happened, right? Where her body was, you know, anything. Nothing, people. I told him to go look in her medical files records, you know, medical file records, the police records that he has on her, and their correction records. Because as far as I'm concerned, those people created Ciera. That's what they created. That was Ciera. That's who they created. They can take credit for everything that they fucking read in those fucking records. And that's assuming that they're not falsified, especially with her medical records and pharmacare fraud. Right? Because, like, this is ridiculous. She died on the 28th, apparently. Honestly, right now, as it is, that's up for speculation. Nobody from the family could confirm that she died on that day. Nobody. Because they didn't give us an opportunity to even look for 30 seconds. They ran her body out of there so fucking fast. And if they didn't do it before we left, like with that phantom car, they did it right after we left. So that by the time I came back an hour and a half later, they were gone. That tells you something. And because they're dragging it out, not being specific as to, you know, what was she in rough sex play? Are they investigating if it was rough sex and she was consensual to it? Or if maybe she was sexually abused? Right? It's one or the other. And if they suspect that, they should be telling me that's what they're investigating. But they're not doing it. Right? They're going to turn around and victimize me because eventually, sooner or later, somebody's going to call me up and say, come pick up the body. You can pick up the body now. It's been in the morgue for 2 weeks. It's still at the hospital or where the fuck we left it. Come pick up the body. I can hear it now. This is being bitchy, right? And then because I didn't pick up the body, now I'm going to be criminalized. Right? They treat the body like trash. That's what they do. They really do. I seen that with Shamay. It's like that spirit cooking, and I've said this before. Neck up, what did they do with the spirit cooking? From the neck down. They ravage the body, and they symbolize it by eating it through cake. But when you look at it from a medical perspective, all you've seen was Shamay's face, and everything else below the neck was embalmed and had been ravaged, which, from a medical perspective, would be like spirit cooking with devil worshippers. You've seen, lots of people have seen those pictures with those crazy people doing that shit. Sitting there eating cake from a mannequin that was cooked into the shape of a nude body. Right? You know? And then they leave the head though. You notice that, right? And then they take, if it's like a plastic kind of they'll take the hair and they'll hang and they'll walk with it as the head is hanging. As everybody's symbolized to eat the actual flesh of that body as it laid on dinner tables made into a form of a cake. Well, that's kind of how I feel like they treated Shamay. And now I'm starting to think the same thing with Ciera, because not giving me any kind of legitimate explanation, right, is, and mocking me to phone me up and say, oh, what is Ciera like, when he's got a fucking file on her 2 times that thick. Wait till they get into her medical files, people. It should be boxes full, boxes full, boxes full of medical files. I'd like to see those medical files. What? Are they going through Ciera's medical files to see if, what do you call it? She was depressed? Maybe she was suicidal? Or maybe it was an accident. Right? Because if it's not an OD, they should be telling me, Miss Chorney, it's not an OG. It's something more serious, and these are along the lines that we think it is. And they're not doing that. They're playing games, people. I shouldn't have to be phoning around asking what happened to my daughter. Right? Now, if it was serious and they considered it to be, I don't know if it has to be murder or just simply a suspicious death. Well, suspicious death. Shamay should have gotten a forensic autopsy with the suspicious death, but they didn't want to ruin her organs. So that's why they faked her being alive or resuscitated. Because they needed to take her to the hospital and proceed with what they were doing, which only benefited them people. Just those people at the table that eat off of that cake that looks like a body to worship the devil. Okay? Keep that in mind. And then they like to grab the hair of the head and walk like this after they consume the body. And our governments consider that to be free religion of choice. So therefore, they took that shit out of the Criminal Code of Canada in terms of witchery and sorcery and that type of thing to be a crime. Because there's too many people running around thinking stupid shit. And I guess the government just doesn't want to deal with it, so they made it easy for them to think even more stupid shit. Right? Now, if they would have reported Ciera had been attacked, dead woman in the house, you'd see something on news media, but if you notice, you don't see anything. I'm almost tempted to go out into the streets and see if I can find some of Ciera's friends and see what they've heard. Because they'll probably know more than me, people. Ciera, believe it or not, had a lot of friends. A lot of her friends got very frustrated with her sometimes because of her health issues and were just as helpless as everybody else, except for maybe her handlers, right? Which at the end brought her down more than likely to a violent death. Only her handlers can blame themselves for that one, people. I hate it when you use a grater and you snag yourself. That's one of the perils of cooking in a kitchen. Always cutting yourself. Well, not cutting, but scratching, burning, that kind of shit. So that's the news. No news. And in this situation, I don't think no news is good news. Right? I'd like to see how they're going to explain themselves on this one. Seriously. Because this is some odd shit. Right? My life just gets worse and worse. You notice that? And if you notice, it's being done by other people. I mean, I'm at home shredding carrots so that if one of these cops ever came to my fucking door and had, a handful of people that needed shelter and some food to eat because there was a fucking earthquake that raged through this fucking province and they had no place to go, but they knew I had food in my house, I wouldn't turn them away. But the way they treat me, man, they need to go down the fucking hole where the hell, it breaks up with the earthquake, opens up. They can fucking go down into that fucking hole. And when the earth closes up, they can close them up fucking in there. That's how I feel, people. This is bullshit. Bullshit. Like, we're going into 4 days now? 4 days? What? Oh, we didn't want to tell you because we didn't want to mislead you. We want to make sure that we had the right information. We had to cut her fucking open and do all this shit just to come back and tell you that it was an OD and it must have been a fucking suicide because her medical file was that fucking big. And if it wasn't a suicide, don't worry. It was an accident. Right? What else am I supposed to think? Nobody goes to jail for murder by fentanyl in this province. Nobody. Shamay is the classic example of that one. Right? That's why I fight so hard to change the laws. Which ultimately would give those bastards more resources to actually catch real crooks. But they have to clean the fucking swamp first. And when they're running off with bodies through the back door in their phantom cars, you really have to ask yourself 4 days later what the fuck happened when the body is still missing in action. I don't know. Is this normal? Is this like fucking how people are treated? So what, we wait a month to find out what happened to Ciera? To see if she's even alive or dead? And then they'll call me up in a month, come pick up the body. Didn't you get my message on your phone? I told you 2 weeks ago, come pick up the body, we're done with it. What, they're afraid I'm going to talk on fucking YouTube and spoil their investigation? Trust me, once it gets out there that fucking Ciera's dead, the streets are going to be fucking buzzing. Ciera knew a lot of people. And Ciera would have gave her fucking shirt for everyone that she knew. Sick or not. And her friends know that. Yep. A lot of people like Ciera. I mean, near the end, it got hard on everybody because she was so sick. And no matter who pleaded to get help for her, her handlers ignored it. basically, through their legislation that they like to follow only sometime. Only when it benefits them, like an Uncle John. They didn't follow legislation with Uncle John. They sure were fucking quick to fucking kidnap him and steal his money. Yep. One more carrot, and then I'm going to dehydrate this. And being that I still got 4 more bags, I don't know what I was thinking. That was that mass hysteria. Oh, you know what? Here's some news. I was so proud of myself today, people. In light of everything. My son's going to the grocery store, right? And I said, I need kitten food because I have kittens, right? Because every time I went out, I couldn't find kitten food. So I asked him to look for kitten food. And if he could, get a bag of kitten food and another bag of cat food, because these things are gone out here, right? There's hardly anything like that. No, right? Okay. So, and then I'm like, well, and he goes, anything else you need, Mom? And I'm like, and here's the point. I'm like, you know, really, I really don't need anything, people. And if I was to get anything, it would be just an extra couple of cartons of eggs so that I can, you know, pack them up in there. But I've already got, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 cartons, so, you know, I didn't need anything today, not one thing. I didn't need milk, didn't need eggs, I didn't need vegetables, I don't need nothing. It was like, and I'm like, damn, that felt pretty damn good. Can you see? That was a big cut. Right? And that's, yeah, was there blood? Now, was there blood? I'd like to know. You see, but her body was staged. That's the thing. That's why I say it was staged, because it was behind the door frame, and the tease was the arm. Right? That was the adrenaline to get you going as you come in and you see it, but we weren't allowed to go because there were already cops standing there guarding that doorway. As that man, John, was sitting in the living room on his, you know, recliner or whatever, those easy boy chairs, that type of a chair, I think, or some kind of chair anyway. And he's like, right? So, you know, you can't go barreling in, go run to the body, because the first thing you're going to run into is fucking cops grabbing onto you. And then it, you know, blows up very quickly, right? Because they just are completely antisocial anytime you go near them. Right? Stand back! Get away from the car! Stay in the car! Get inside the car! Like they're constantly running on fucking paranoia. But anyway, I'm not a cop, so I guess I don't know what it feels like to be having to face certain things because it's not my job. So anyway, besides that point, I don't even know what I was talking about. Yeah, they, you know, like, why was I called there? Why did that guy call me? If he's not involved, there's only 2 reasons why he would call me. Only 2 reasons. Okay? One reason is, okay, and we're assuming that Ciera was seriously injured. Okay? This isn't just an OD, because if it was just an OD, they would have pronounced that by now. Okay? But they're not giving full information, and they're being sneaky about it because they're sneaking around dead bodies, and now they're hiding them. Well, body, in this case. Ciera's body. I don't know if there's more than one. Okay? So, why did this guy call me? And when we showed up, I'm telling you, we hadn't even been there for, what, 2-3 minutes? If you listen to the first recording with just the picture of Shamay and Shamay and Ciera with the recording, just the recording itself, I mean, we were only sitting inside the house for, what, 3, 4, 5 minutes? Not very long. And then we were forced outside. Okay? We only were sitting down waiting for this woman for 2 or 3 minutes before the coroner showed up. How do we know the coroner wasn't hiding out in the fucking kitchen and just taking her cue? Because that's how these people work. I've seen it happen twice in Uncle John. Well, more than twice. People more than twice. But Uncle John for sure. Shamay most definitely. And then, okay. So, instances around Andre, right? So, you know, how is it that she showed up 2 or 3 minutes after we showed up? And then within a minute or 2 or 3, from the time we met her, she was successful at getting us kicked out. Because she had to do her job. Where at some point, she bolts out of there, probably in her coroner vehicle. That was probably her vehicle. More than likely with Ciera's body in it. Because other people had already gone in there to help move it. On top of that big cop was using his body, people, and he was big, and he was going like this so that you couldn't fucking see. You know? He didn't want us to see inside as people were going in and out, so he used his body to hide the door as he was opening and closing it to let people in and out or whatever, and he was only opening it for so far, and he would use his body because it was 6'7" to hide from what was going on inside. That doesn't sound professional. Nothing about that sounds professional, people. Where were they rushing her off to? Because they were hungry and they wanted to go home to their families? Get the job done? This is why I say they threw her in the back of that fucking thing like a bag of garbage. That's how you treat garbage. It's not how you treat a body, especially one that's been beat, mutilated. Who knows? Because they didn't want me to see, people. It was fucking staged. They just wanted me to see an arm so I can visualize over and over and over and over again in my brain what maybe happened. And then they heightened it by being the drama queens and kings that they are with get out, get out, get out, you're criminal, just even like that cop. When I went back to the house, well, you're not allowed in there. You weren't allowed in there. Excuse me? I was called to be there. That man called me, knowing I would come, because I told him, you ever need me, call me and I will come. I told him I was going to be supportive of whatever she needed to the best of my ability. It didn't matter if it was fucking dishes, towels, fucking furniture, a bed, whatever it was. The point was that she was supposed to have a fucking safe room to fucking live and maybe heal herself so that she could be better. And that didn't happen. So why did that man call me? And then not even 2 minutes after, 3 minutes after we showed up, that fucking coroner showed up. And then 2-3 minutes later, what happens? They fucking kick us out. And then within another fucking 10 minutes, what happens? That bitch goes beelining out of there with fucking Ciera's body in the back. As everybody else is playing checkers with their fucking vehicles, going in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. Oh my God. Like, this is stressful. So why did he call me? I'm going to leave it on this note because I don't want this video to be long. I just want you to know I'm okay. I'm handling what I said I was going to do. I'm going to try and make the yogurt in the morning because it has to sit. I didn't like the result of that blue thing, but to be fair, I should have fresher yogurt, but I don't. So I'm going to attempt to use it one more time, but I'm going to use those little heating cups that plug in and cook it different on the stove. So I'm probably going to do that in the morning. But right now I'm just, you know, getting this in the dehydrator. I'm probably going to take this sauerkraut very soon, if not tonight, tomorrow, or next day. Put them into jars, get them in the fridge, because they've been sitting out for a while, so that they're probably okay. But outside of that, you know, I'm washing my floor. I'm really supposed to get into the paperwork, but, you know, that's not happening today. And then, of course, I've got the yard, right? With the city coming in on the 19th. I mean, like, this is bizarre shit. Right? Shamay's fourth death on the 19th with the city to fucking come in here and chop off my fucking feet. Right? Terrorize me and threaten my family so that we lose our fucking house. As my landlord jumps on that bandwagon because she's old and can't handle the stress. Right? And how I did such a lousy fucking job after 10 fucking years of living in this stupid house. Right? And therefore, I deserve to be treated like, kind of like Ciera. You know? Like garbage. Right? Isn't that how it works around here in fucking Surrey, British Columbia, Canada? So I don't know when I'm going to get out in the yard. Hopefully in the next few days. Right? And when the city shows up, I'll just tell them that's the best that I could do considering the circumstances. And maybe they might cut me some slack. But until that happens, I have to worry about it. And in light of what's been happening over the years since Uncle John went missing from January of 2015, and this is like the 4th or 5th time the fucking city's been harassing me. As each time they harass me, the yard just gets better looking and better looking and better looking. It's going to get to the point one day, people, you know, I'll be like, well, what do I need to do out here? And I'll be like, well, nothing. It's done. Just like with the groceries. What do you need from the grocery store? Well, really nothing. There's nothing that I could possibly want from the grocery store right now. You know, like seriously. And with that, you know, that makes me feel good. I don't feel good with what these cops are doing. So finishing it on the note with, why did this guy call me? Why? One of two reasons. He either had remorse for what he did, and he knew he was going down. Right? And maybe that's his way of apologizing to me for killing my daughter. Assuming that he did. Right? People do strange things when they're under stress. You know? And if he killed my daughter, chances are he probably killed somebody else. But if he didn't kill my daughter, and he was just part of the fucking game, right? Because right now it's a fucking game. BC Coroner's Office and the RCMP of Surrey. To me, it's a fucking game. Then he's working with them. And he'll get off. If they even charge him. Because we don't know what kind of funky fucking excuse they're going to come back with. Right? Isn't that the thing? We don't. We don't know what the funky excuse is going to be. Right? How many want to bet it's going to be funky? Wait, I'm going to upload this as is and just, I wanted to do a live, but honestly, I just need to, you know, put things away and wipe a few things down with bleach, you know, it's like the coronavirus, right?